Chloe wakes up bound inside a seedy motel room surrounded by others in the same predicament. As she tries to make sense of her situation, she'll have to save herself from the masked man who's been disposing of them one by one. Meanwhile, Andrew, a man under financial constraints, is tested if he has what it takes to do anything for his daughter's future. Chloe regains consciousness on an unfamiliar motel room floor. She realizes her hands are tied, and her mouth is covered when she comes to. She struggles and tries to scream when she sees other people on the floor around her. When she calms down, she looks over at the lady next to her. Suddenly, the woman opens her eyes and starts to whimper. They then hear a door open, and Chloe sees heavy boots through the bottom of the bed. She quickly rolls to her side and pretends to be asleep. A few feet away, the mystery man quickly drags the woman across the floor into the bathroom and closes the door. Chloe listens to the cries, but after some squelching noises, the screams stop, followed by several loud thuds. Elsewhere, Andrew's phone vibrates on the table, waking him. Later, in the shower, his phone rings, and he answers it. He speaks to Kevin, who has a job offer for him that he desperately needs. Later, Andrew walks down the street carrying a backpack. He then recalls a phone conversation with his ex-wife, Lindsay. He asks to speak to their daughter, Zoe, but Lindsay is dismissive, saying she doesn't want Zoe to be late for school and tells him to call again that evening. As he walks along the street, a man in a car watches him. That evening, the man in the car continues watching Andrew. As Andrew walks home, he recalls another phone conversation with Lindsay, who admonishes him about how his last check didn't clear. She says he shouldn't worry about not getting to talk to his daughter, but about making sure he pays alimony like he's supposed to. In the motel room, Chloe is startled when someone grabs her from behind. Angela, who's been able to untie herself, helps Chloe by removing the cloth over her mouth. When they hear the noise from the bathroom stop, Angela hides under a bed while Chloe tries to speak to her. Angela mouths at Chloe to turn over, so Chloe rolls to her side, facing away from the bathroom, just as the man opens the door. Through the bottom of the bed, Chloe watches the man drag the lifeless body across the floor and out the main door. After the door closes, Angela returns to untying Chloe's restraints and says she doesn't know where they are or how they got there. She says they need to figure a way out quickly, because she doesn't know how long the man will be gone. On the beds next to Chloe are other motionless women. Angela helps her with the binds on her ankles and tells Chloe she worked on hers all night and hid under a bed. Chloe finally stands up, gets a better look at more people splayed out on the floor, and drops back down, overwhelmed. Angela helps her to her feet, and they walk toward the door. Then she tries the doorknob but finds it locked. Suddenly, a loud thud from the other side of the door terrifies them and makes them jump back. Angela leads Chloe to the bathroom to hide. Seconds later, a man barges in the door, grabs Angela, and throws her around the bathroom, slamming her on the walls. Chloe hides behind the door, but the man snatches her and she screams. Meanwhile, Andrew does odd jobs to make cash while the man in the car continues following and watching him. Later, outside his apartment, Andrew finds a package wrapped in brown paper with an envelope. Inside the envelope, he finds money and a note with "half now, half upon delivery," written along with a phone number. Inside the apartment, he calls the number on the note, and the Russian man answers. Andrew explains that he might have gotten the man's package by mistake, but the man assures him it was no mistake. The man then says he has a package delivery job which will earn him another $200 upon completing the task. Hesitant, Andrew reasons that he isn't a mailman. The Russian calmly accepts Andrew's decision and tells him to keep the money in the envelope and to place everything else outside his front door. Curious, Andrew asks the man what's in the package, and the man on the phone prods him to open it to see for himself. Uncertain, Andrew says he doesn't want to get involved in anything sketchy, but the man promises it's nothing bad. Andrew places the phone down and opens the package to reveal 2 hardbound books. He returns to the phone and tells the man he doesn't understand why he couldn't deliver the books himself. The Russian says it's difficult finding people to work for him that he can trust, and Andrew seems like a trustworthy person who could use the money. The Russian asks if he wants the job, but Andrew asks if he can think about it first. The man understands and says he'll be in touch. The following morning, the phone rings, waking Andrew, who is asleep on the couch. The Russian asks him again about the job offer, and Andrew accepts. The man then says there's a new package outside Andrew's door to take to a specific address. Included is half the payment, and the other half he gets after the delivery. After the call, he takes the new package from his front door. In the motel room, the tormentor tosses Chloe back on the carpeted floor before dragging Angela's lifeless body through the front door. After the doors close, Chloe gets back on her feet and checks the room. She sees a closet, and when she opens it a little, a bound, unconscious woman falls out. Chloe then tries to pry off the boards covering the window, to no avail. She heads to the bathroom and sees a hook on a chain hanging from the ceiling. The woman ambles to the window and tries to lift it open, but finds that it only allows a small opening. In the shower drain, Chloe sees a pearl earring. Alarmed, she screams for help, but quickly stops when she hears a noise from the bedroom. She follows the whimpering sound and removes the cloth over the lady's mouth, who immediately says she can't feel her legs. Chloe covers the woman's mouth again when she hears a noise from behind the front door and proceeds to push the dresser to barricade it. She returns to the crying lady, removes her restraints, and helps her onto the bed. All of a sudden, the front door rattles loudly when the tormentor realizes he can't open it. The frightened woman panics as Chloe spots an air vent on the ceiling. She drags the bedside table below the vent and pulls the grate open. Chloe immediately helps her to the other side of the room and tells her to climb up to the ceiling. The woman is frozen in fear, so Chloe climbs into the vent and tells her she'll pull her up instead. The tormentor is able to push the door wide enough to stick his arm through, then tries to move the dresser out of the way. Chloe reaches down to her from the vent. The woman moves to the side table and tries to stand up to reach Chloe's outstretched arm. When the woman takes too long to climb up the wall, Chloe moves down the air duct to find another vent. Inside the air duct, Chloe watches through a smaller vent and sees the woman still atop the bedside table, and the front door now opened wide enough for the man to enter. The scared woman fights through her leg weakness and tries to reach the air vent. Chloe crawls to the vent above the other woman and reaches her just in time to catch her hand as she falls. Chloe pulls her into the duct as the tormentor watches a few feet away. Inside the duct, the collective weight of both women is too much for the screws to support, and it gives away. The other woman slides down from Chloe's grasp and barely holds onto the duct. Conflicted, Chloe chooses to let the woman's hands go, lest she risks the duct dropping from the ceiling and neither one of them getting a chance to escape. Chloe hears the girl's mewling as the tormentor strangles her. After the cries stop, she presses her ear on the metal to listen for any noise. Suddenly, a pitchfork punches through the metal, taking Chloe by surprise. She scoots down the duct, avoiding the sharp spikes. When she reaches the end of the tunnel, she tries to kick open another vent, but the pitchfork stabs through the duct and catches her ankle. Chloe cries out in pain, but promptly covers her mouth to keep the tormentor from hearing her. Seconds later, she drags her body back up the duct to peek through the small holes left by the pitchfork. She sees the lifeless woman she tried to help earlier when suddenly, the pitchfork pierces through the metal and hits her shoulder. Fighting through the pain, Chloe keeps herself from crying out loud. She peeks through the hole and sees the tormentor for the first time. The man wears a strange, antique gas mask over his face. To help convince the tormentor that she's passed away, Chloe presses into her shoulder wound so that it continues bleeding and dripping down through the holes in the duct. Believing he took care of Chloe, the man returns to the strangled woman whom he carries away on his shoulder. After the man leaves, Chloe removes her finger from her wound and collapses in exhaustion. Meanwhile, while Andrew eats dinner at a restaurant with a package on his table, he recalls a phone conversation with the Russian, whom he thanks for allowing him to earn money and help with his financial situation. The man then tells him about another essential package he'd like him to deliver. Minutes later, outside the restaurant, a man approaches Andrew and asks him for spare change. While Andrew is distracted, the man's accomplice rushes him from behind and knocks him down using a baseball bat. The two men then take the package and escape from the scene. Moments later, Andrew drives around nearby streets, searching for the vagrants who stole the package. He answers a call from the Russian who asks him what happened, and he explains himself while promising his boss that he'll retrieve the parcel. The Russian calmly points out that if he is unsuccessful, he'll have no choice but to terminate their professional relationship. The next morning, Andrew answers the Russian's call and dejectedly admits he has yet to find the thieves. The man on the other end expresses his disappointment for thinking Andrew was the loyal and dependable employee he was always looking for. Andrew pleads for another chance, desperate to keep the well-paying job. The Russian gives him an address and says the gate will be open. He wants Andrew to promise never to let anything like last night happen again, to which Andrew agrees. Later that day, Andrew determinedly breaks through the gate into a small backyard, where he finds the two men and wails at them with a baseball bat. After disposing of the thieves, he takes the package on the table and leaves. In the motel room, Chloe climbs down the air vent onto the bed below. She then hobbles to the front door, but it's still locked. The woman looks around the room and spots the loose metal on the ceiling, dislodged by the weighed-down air duct. Next, she opens the closet door completely and discovers it's full of bodies. One by one, she unties and collects the binds. Later, she uses the pieces of cloth to tie up the wounds on her shoulder and ankle. Moments later, Chloe starts moving all the bodies over to the farthest wall of the room. She pushes the dresser back to its original position, then begins connecting the individual restraints into one long rope. Next, she moves the bedside table under one of the beds to lift it. Then, she ties the rope to a beam under the bed and loops it through the loose metal on the ceiling so that the ends hang down like a noose. Elsewhere, Andrew recalls a conversation he had with the Russian over the phone, who was impressed by his willingness to do anything to fulfill a job. The man thinks Andrew has proven himself qualified for dealing with tasks of a sensitive nature that'll pay him 6 figures a year, more than enough to take care of his financial problems. Andrew wishes to know more about this new job, but the Russian thinks he should meet with their employer first and hear the details firsthand. He'll send a car to pick Andrew up and take him to a mansion where the mystery boss will be waiting for him. Inside the mansion, the maid takes him into the living room and serves him tea. Suddenly, a voice from the upstairs balcony surprises him. When he looks up, he sees an elegantly dressed woman in her mid-30s, Elizabeth. The woman joins him in the living room and asks the man what he wants in life. Andrew answers that he wants a better life for him and his family, specifically his daughter. He wants to be able to buy her nice things and send her to a good college. Elizabeth corrects him and says the things he listed are his needs to provide and that he wants to give his daughter a life many can only dream of. Eventually, he asks why she sent for him. She then goes on a vague monologue about how she wants to control the time she has left on Earth before she perishes, especially the years she lost while her husband was fighting in a war. She needs someone to help her achieve something that'll continue her existence on the mortal plane. Andrew asks her what she needs him to do. She explains when her husband passed, his youthful memory will be remembered for eternity. Meanwhile, others like her, who succumb to aging, end up becoming unrecognizable from the youthful visage they once had. Befuddled, Andrew asks the woman to be less vague with her words. Elizabeth finally admits she found a way to hold on to her youth, but the method requires a certain skill set. Andrew asks what she wants him to do, but she corrects him and says it's what he needs to do. She'll provide him with human specimens and he'll extract their blood for her. Seeing Andrew confused, she adds it'll be the fitting end to the lives of the women who will always be remembered as they are, beautiful and full of life. When Andrew says he can't do it, she argues he'll do it because she's owed it by virtue of the youth that was taken from her. As Andrew stands up to walk away, she threateningly asks him about his daughter, then says he will do the job required of him so he and his daughter can have the life they've always dreamed of. Ruminating, Andrew asks where the specimens will come from, to which she says everywhere. He asks how the authorities have never caught the woman, and she smugly says her wealth affords her many things, including keeping the right people in her pocket. In the motel room, Chloe peeks through the peephole and sees the man about to enter the room. When the masked man steps through the door, he's carrying a small scythe. Chloe rushes to the noose and places it around her neck, threatening to off herself if he steps closer. When the man rushes toward her, he trips on a length of rope. As he falls in her direction, Chloe places the noose on the man's neck, strangling him. Chloe backs to the wall and watches the tormentor drag the heavy bed as he reaches for the scythe he dropped on the floor. She grabs the blade before he can, and uses it to pin his hand onto the dresser. Still standing, the man lumbers toward the scared Chloe. Chloe then uses the bodies to weigh down the lifting bed so that the rope pulls the man off the floor. Moments later, Chloe holds the rope and pulls on it with all her strength until the man finally stops flailing. Chloe removes the man's mask and stares at his face for a few seconds before placing it back on. In the mansion, Elizabeth asks Andrew if he's interested in the position, and he accepts. Pleased, Elizabeth reveals that his hiring is perfect timing because a vacancy just opened up. In the motel room, Chloe hobbles through the front door and is stunned to see she's been kept in an affluent person's backyard this entire time.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.